Hi everyone, it's Gul Khan here, your money mindset expert. So we are here today to talk about setting clear boundaries. So while we have Laura, hi Laura, while we have people coming up, I'm going to go and share this. So if I can find it, there we are. I'm going to share it both in my page so that we've got it there, and I'm going to share it onto my group as well. So let's share it in Go, and let's share it. Hey Sean, hi Sean, hi Maria, hi Mara. Let's share it in the group as well, which is Magnanimous. Awesome. Okay, great. We've shared it there, so that's awesome. Hi Katty, hi Fran, so good to have you guys. So guys, before we get started, can I please ask you to do me a huge favor? Can you please share this so that we get as many people as possible to watch this, so that many people can get value from this. The topic today is something that I think everybody needs. It's essential for absolutely everybody. The need to set clear, healthy boundaries is absolutely. Hi, Mariam. Hi, Shema. It's Shema actually. So, hi, Shema. The need to setting healthy boundaries is absolutely essential for absolutely everyone. I think it's essential that everybody does this. We'll go live on Instagram too. So we can go here, there as well. Here we are. Awesome. Okay. Great. Okay. So welcome everybody. This is Gul Khan, your money mindset expert, and we are talking today about the need to set clear boundaries. Now, before I get started, those of you watching on Facebook, can you please share this with your audience, because I think that this is such an essential topic that absolutely everybody needs to hear this. And I've got a little bit of I've actually done my homework today, so instead of thinking on top of my head, I've got my list of things that I'm going to recommend to you guys that you do to set healthy boundaries. And these boundaries we're going to talk about just about with individuals, but we are going to talk about setting these boundaries for every relationship you have, and how this is essential for you to develop a healthy life and healthy lifestyle. So hi Aisha for joining me. Hi Mara. Hey my lovely, how are you? Hi Joanna, so good to have you guys here. Awesome. So anybody who's actually watching for the first time, put hashtag newbie. Anybody who's watching live, please put a hashtag live. And anybody who's actually watching this on replay, please do hashtag replay. And if you are watching me on replay, please do actually share this even then, because we can get this out to as many people as possible, which is awesome. So let's get started. And I'm going to share a lot of content today. So I may not be able to read as many messages, but please do share and I will respond back to you, because I have got a lot to give. And that's why even the clearing, by the way, we are doing a clearing on boundaries, and that clearing will be done in the Magnanimous Money Mindset group. For those of you watching on, hi Asif, hi, I think this is called The Steal, I'm not sure. For those of you watching on Instagram, you guys will be able to watch this anyway, because I'll just start another live. For those on Facebook, if you want to do hashtag live, awesome, thank you, Maria, Shama. For those of you watching on Facebook, you will have to be if you're not already a member, then you have to become a member, which is it's a free group anyway. Join Magnanimous Money Mindset, where I will be doing the clearing for today. And again, it's going to be an awesome clearing. And if you guys have known my clearing, so what I've started doing especially is, if you join me live, I actually ask you specifically, what do you need clearing on? And I go into specifically clearing for you. Hi Melanie, my lovely. So I go into hi my lovely, I go and I clear specifically the thing that you want to clear. So the clearings are very powerful and they are very personalized if you attend live. If you watch the replays, again, they're still awesome, and you probably fit the container anyway. So I highly recommend you join Magnanimous Mindset, and we'll be doing that clearing at 9:30, so about 50 minutes from now, okay? So we've got a lot to cover, and I'm going to start. Anybody, once again, if you're watching me live, put hashtag live. If you're watching me on replay, hashtag replay. And if you're watching me for the first time, then hashtag newbie, which is awesome. And if you can share this with your audience, I would highly appreciate it, so that more and more people can get to listen to this. I'm not selling anything, by the way, so this is no sell, no pitch, no BS thing. This is purely my training, my way of giving back to you guys, my community. I'm not selling anything, so don't worry. I'm not even pitching anything. There's nothing to pitch here either. I've got no launches coming up, so nothing. Okay, so I'm going to get started with setting clear boundaries and then the need for it. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so when we talk about when you talk about boundaries, okay, what do we mean by boundaries? What do we essentially mean by boundaries? Well, a boundaries is a set of rules that you set for yourself. It's a way to tell other people. Now, when I say boundaries, it means with every other human being that you have a relationship with. It means every single person. Let me just put this on this side. I mean, every single person that you are interacting with, every single person that you have some sort of connection with. This includes, by the way, and it's not an exhaustive list, but this includes your husband, your wife, your mother, your father, your siblings, your cousins, your friends, your best friends, your work colleagues, the postman, the milkman, and whatever else. Every single human being that you come into contact with, you need to set clear boundaries with. Okay, obviously, the closer the relationship, the more the need for essential clear boundaries. Now, this is especially for those of you who are, hi Victoria, my lovely. This is especially important for those of you, hi Brie, my lovely. This is especially important for those of you who are actually mothers. So I know as mothers, we tend to really blur the line when it comes to our children, and I'm guilty of that also. I mean, I put my hands up to that. Less so nowadays. I do take care of myself more, and I do actually, the steps that I've got 11 steps altogether. The 11 things that I've got in that I'm going to talk about today, I practice those myself. So I sat down and wrote down the things that I do and how that's helped me to change my relationship with my children, and how that's changed my relationship with my people also. Now, this also does mean that it does empower you. It doesn't mean I've now become this hi Fiona, lovely. It doesn't mean that I've become this BITCH. I'm not at all, okay? But it's meant that I have a better relationship with my children. It means I'm getting less angry. I don't get angry at them as much. It means I get to enjoy my children's company more. It means I get to enjoy the company of my friends more because I've laid down clear boundaries. And because of these clear boundaries, if somebody comes into my energy field, which is not good for me, which is not healthy for me, and I'll give you an example. So before I get started with this, I'll give you a couple of examples. So one of recently, there's a client I had, and I will be taking, actually I'm not going to give her a name, absolutely not, but there's a client that I have who is currently on my friends list. I will be taking her out because I gave her a lot of time and a lot of space. She feels somehow that I sort of owe her too much, or it's like, it's like she feels entitled to my time, to my energy. She asked me to do something which I didn't actually do, and now in return, she's become very, because I refused to do that, because I wasn't able to do that particular thing for her, even though I was still willing to help her, whatever, she decided that, she was going to be ignoring me and start saying, about to me, she actually owes me money for one of my for one of my things, and she normally, she says she'll pay when she has the money, rather than actually paying when she's due, which was like a month ago. So my response to that was, I love her. She's an awesome, awesome woman. I love you. I'm going to bless you. I'm going to let that money go because that money's not going to become toxic. So we let that go. But I'm also going to take her out. She will no longer be able to take any more programs. She will no longer be part of my inner tribe, even though I still love her to bits. She's an awesome lady. But somehow her recent behavior has meant that I don't appreciate her to be part of my inner tribe. And therefore I'm eliminating her, even without thinking that she's not a bad person at all. She's a lovely person. But her behavior with me has crossed my boundaries. And therefore, even though she could go on to be another client in the future, I said, no, I don't want you, and I'm taking her out. Okay, does that make sense to you guys? How important it is when you know your clear boundaries. When someone oversteps those boundaries, you can say no, and you can move away without feeling guilty, without feeling bad, without being rude. I haven't been rude to this client of mine, not at all. But I will not allow her in either. Does it make sense? There's another one. I had a friend who's actually awesome, is great, and again, something that, it's just the boundaries weren't clear, and she wasn't accepting the boundaries I kept laying. I gave her 1 option, 2 options, 3 options. She kept overstepping the boundaries, and so I had to pull away again, without being rude, without being offensive, just pulled away. Okay. A third friend of mine, somebody, another friend who he just, was, everything friendship was meant on, on the person's terms. Again, you can't have anything. The point was, when people overstep my boundaries, now I recognize when they overstep my boundaries. So what I do, I pull away, I give them respect, I bless them, I love them, and then let go. Okay, now that you can do with friends, that you can do with clients, that you can do other things. You cannot do this with your children. You cannot do this with your with your family. You cannot do this with your mom and dad and so forth. Hence the need for very clear boundaries that you can set for yourself and actually help them and train them. Okay, remember, people get used to treating you in a particular way, treating you in a how you allow them to treat you. If you start training everybody in your circle to treat you in a particular way, to actually respect your boundaries, then people will do that. And actually, as for those of you who are mothers, even more so, it's essential that you train your children to respect your boundaries. You are not a doormat. You're not there to do everything for them. You are there to actually help them develop. And at the end of the day, that's for you to be, okay? Hi, Diamond, and hi, Lena. Thank you for joining me. Okay, so we're going to get cracking with this because I've got about 11 points to cover. I did write quite a few doing things down. Okay, so let's come back to this point. So what are boundaries? Boundaries are essentially, are essential for healthy relationships and for a healthy life. Okay, and I'm going to pause it for a moment. And all of those of you who have just joined me, please do actually share this video out to people who you think would benefit from this and actually can learn from the points I'm raising today. I think the idea of boundaries is so essential for every single one of us, whether you want to work, be a business person, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a housemaker or whatever you are. Setting clear boundaries is really essential for your healthy life, for a healthy lifestyle. Okay, so please do share this with everybody. And if you're watching me live, please #live. Otherwise, if you're watching this replay, #replay. Okay, so what does having healthy relationship mean? It means you know and you understand what your limits are. Let me repeat that. So what does having healthy boundaries mean? It means you know what your limits are. Okay, so there's a few steps for here. So step number one is, the very first step is logical. You need, and it's called identification. So for me, identification, you need to be aware of what your limits are. You can't set good boundaries unless you know what your limits. You need to understand you need to understand and identify what makes you uncomfortable, be it physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. You need to know what your limits are in all of those areas. If you don't, you're not able to set the clear boundaries. Okay. And you need to work out where do you start becoming uncomfortable? Where do you start getting stressed? Where do you start feeling the pressure? And actually, draw your line before that. So in any relationship, be it with mom and dad, or be it with your children, or be it with your husband or your wife, work out exactly where it is that you'll actually start at what point do you start feeling stressed, angry, annoyed, and most of all, when you start resenting the person. Okay, when you start resenting the situation, when you start resenting the whole situation, that is the very first one for you to think about. That is it's essential for you to work out what exactly is your limits. Does that make sense? So number one is identification, and we need to address the 4 areas. Okay. So we've got 4 areas. We've got first of all, you've got your physical limitations, you've got your emotional limitations, you've got mental and spiritual. All 4 need to be addressed. You can't just address one, you have to address all 4. Okay? And that's step 1. Now step 2, well, part 2 basically, you should say, the next step for you to work on is actually tune into your feelings. Okay? Now, I hinted out of this in step 1. With your feelings, you've got 2 main feelings: discomfort and resentment. So every time someone oversteps your boundaries, and you know this actually intuitively, when somebody, it doesn't matter who it is, it could be a child, it could be a parent, it could be a spouse, it could be a friend, it could be a neighbor, anybody, when they start overcrossing your boundaries, your safe area, you start getting uncomfortable. You start getting discomfort, sort of takes over you. You become uncomfortable, and slowly that discomfort, goes into resentment. Okay. Now you can actually do this very, very easily. Okay. You can actually do a scale to 1 to 10. So when you can ask a situation, the way I would do this is, for example, hi Trina. Take any particular person and say, okay, so for example, your spouse, okay, saying a clear boundary with them. When my spouse doesn't listen to me, or on a particular, like for example, small things, by the way, small things end up leading to the big things. I'm going to repeat that. Small things lead to the big things. So it could be small things in the house which ends up causing so much resentment that you have an outburst. And the outburst usually can be something completely different and completely minor. And you think, why did I have the outburst? Because all these small things build up, and then you have your big outburst, and you're shocked, like, oh, why did I react so severely as such a small thing? That small thing was a tipping point. Everything else was building up, and that's why there's a need for these essential boundaries. So whatever emotion is, be whatever things. For example, I'll give you a common thing about housework. So when my husband, or my whatever example that comes to mind is about husband. My husband does not do the dishes. It makes me feel discomfort. It makes me feel uncomfortable. Do I resent him? On a scale of 1 to 10. Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, how annoyed am I? Anything above a 7, it's a red flag. Okay, so do it on a scale of 1 to 7 and ask yourself intuitively. If those of you who've done my clearings with me, I usually, when I ask you a question, I say, ask a question and ask it from your higher self, from your intuitive, your subconscious mind, or your higher self, whatever you want to call it. When you ask a question, get the answer in the first 3 seconds. The first 3 seconds is your subconscious mind or your intuition talking to you. Thereafter is your logical mind. Okay, so ask a question and get an answer. When you get an answer, and you get an answer between 1 to 7, and 1 to 10, if it's above 7, know that that's a red flag. Okay, you may not even be consciously aware of this. You may not even know that this annoys you so much, and you may work, for example, your husband not taking the dog out for a walk, or your wife not respecting your boundaries of going out with the lads or something, or your child, your daughter not doing, like, I'm training my daughter to do the dishes, your daughter not doing the dishes herself or something. It could be something that you don't even realize actually bugs you so much. But when you start paying attention to it in this format and ask these questions on a scale of 1 to 10, so how much does this bother me from a scale of 1 to 10? I mean, you will have to do this with every single relationship, because you have to say, oh, thank you. Thank you, Melanie. I think she likes my makeup. Thank you. Scale away is great to see and notice the energy if you cannot. Absolutely, Joanna. Absolutely. And I'm a big fan of scaling, your emotions on a scale of 1 to 10. How do I feel? And you can work around it. But anything above 7 is a red flag. It's going towards from discomfort. If you imagine discomfort to resentment, if you're thinking about a question, obviously you're uncomfortable around it. But so if you imagine discomfort at 1 scale, like 1 or 2 makes you uncomfortable, it's uncomfortable, and anything above a 7 is going towards resentment, then you know what your issues are. Then you know that particular thing about that particular relationship bugs you. Okay, so do you need to do this every single relationship? And it may seem like a hard work, but it's worth the effort initially, at least those relationships that really matter, like your children, your parents, your spouse, your close friends, and even your work colleagues or team members. Okay, it's worth doing it with them. So the first one is awareness in terms of working out exactly what where you are in the 4 levels, and the number 2 is actually scaling out and working out where are you on the discomfort to resentment level, the 2 emotions. Okay, and they indicate where you are. Now, resentment, coming back to resentment in this, resentment usually comes from the idea or the thought that you're being taken advantage of, okay, and you're not being appreciated. That's what really resentment means. And that could be in any capacity, as a from a work colleague, from your manager, from your family taking you for granted, your parents taking you for granted, so forth. Okay, it just means you don't feel appreciated. We as human beings have this innate need to be appreciated, to know that we are valued. And if we think that people are taking us for granted, we don't feel valued, and therefore we have this resentment towards these people. Does it make sense? Am I speaking too fast, by the way, guys? Is this making sense to you guys? Tell me it's making sense. Give me a thumbs up or something. Give me thumbs up, give me thumbs up, give me thumbs up. I am speaking a bit fast, but give me thumbs up. Tell me the speed and the volume is okay. Oh dear, my mic isn't even working. Oh my gosh. Never mind. Okay, so give me thumbs up. Please tell me that everything's okay and that you guys can hear me. Tell me that. Okay, awesome. Thank you for that. Awesome. Okay. Oh, by the way, guys, please share this if you get value from it, because I think today's content is awesome, because I absolutely think this is absolutely everybody needs to be doing this. Okay, everybody needs to set healthy boundaries. Okay, so next step apart, the third step, okay, in all of this is communicating this to the other people. You have to communicate your boundaries to other people. Now, this can be tricky. Okay, this is tricky, and this is where I want you to understand. So there'll be two types of people. There'll be people that you can maintain healthy boundaries with without it being direct, because they're on your level. They understand the subtleties. They understand, you know, you're similar. You know, people. I mean, okay. So this will be example for those of you if you understand. Oh, thank you. This will be for those of you who understand. You know, people who are on your level, people who understand the kind of person you are, the people who, you know, people understand exactly, they get you. Okay, for them, you just have to sort of, you know, begin to indicate indirectly, no, this doesn't feel good for me, or yeah, you know, that's not right for me, and whatever, and they'll appreciate you and they'll understand you. Okay, that's that. But there are others, and these people are like on similar wavelength, or it could be even family members and so forth. But there are other people who are completely different to you in personality. For example, something that you think is offensive, somebody else may not think is offensive. For example, you know, I think I'll give it a prime example, because I work with a lot of American clients. I had to adapt certain parts of myself to my American clients, because, you know, their attitude and their lifestyle is very different to our, you know, being British, because, you know, English people, we are very conservative. I think Melanie, you'll understand this. We are very conservative in terms of how we speak and how we are and how we're brought up, especially in considering, you know, my background is I was a barrister, so I come from an uber conservative background, and for me to be speaking and the way I do speak over here and start speaking to my American clients, it was very different. So initially, for me to set my boundaries, I would have to adapt and make sure that I wasn't offending them, and, you know, also understand they're not offending me. That's just they're human. That's just the way they are. That's just the people they are. Does it make sense? Okay. So you have to communicate it effectively to the person. Now, this is important, so you're not rude. Okay, so you are not rude, because you can be thinking, I'm not being rude, I'm just laying down my boundaries. And I'll give you another example. So I'll give you an example of my lifestyle. There's another friend of mine. Oh my God, she's an awesome girl. Okay, and you know, I'm very, very fond of her. But because I can see it from the outside point of view, she can be very direct and very blunt. And there's another friend who's also very direct and very blunt. They're not being rude. They're not being rude. But that's the way they are. That's the way they've been brought up. That's how the norm is, to lay down the boundaries in that manner. And unfortunately, at times, they can come across as being rude and offensive. And that is where you have to be careful for. You know, when people say, well, I'm just laying down my boundaries, I'm just, you know, X, Y, Z. Well, yeah, you can, and you should be doing it, but you should do it in a manner that's not offensive. Remember, when you communicate, the key to communication is not how you want to say it, is how the other person can hear you. Does that make sense, people? Okay, this is very important. But when you lay down boundaries, you don't spoil your relationships. You don't disrupt your relationships. You are laying down these boundaries so that you have a good relationship with people. You have good relationship with yourself and the people around you, not to disrupt your relationships with people around you. Okay, so that's important. So therefore, you communicate all of this, you know, what your limits are and your limitations with people through a language that they can understand, where they will not get offended, and in a manner that they will understand. And with your children, for example, if your children are small, you need to make them understand in a language where they understand. So, for example, how I speak to my 6-year-old, my 7-year-old, I do not speak in the same way to my 11-year-old, okay? Because I speak in a language that she will understand and he will understand. The way I speak to my brother, or the way I speak to my, you know, my cousins, is not the way I will speak to my uncle and my aunt. Because if I speak in the same manner to my uncle, he will get offended. Yeah, makes sense? Yeah, all good? Yeah, so it's important. So you communicate your boundaries very clearly, but in a language and in a manner that the other person can understand. And this is very, very important. You do not communicate in a way you want to. You communicate in a way the other person will understand. And this is the way to lay down healthy boundaries without offending people, without getting annoyed, without getting upset, and without, you know, crossing their boundaries. Okay, sometimes you say things which you end up crossing their boundaries, and that's what we don't want. Okay, we want to have healthy relationships, not cause arguments. Make sense? Awesome, awesome, awesome. So that's step 3. Okay. Now, the fourth one, and this is really, really, I think this is absolutely essential for every single one. Give yourself permission to do this. Let me repeat it. Give yourself permission to lay down these boundaries. Unfortunately, most of the time we have guilt, fear, self-doubt, you know, and all these emotions, which are big pitfalls, which stop us from actually laying down these big boundaries. We always have this fear that, oh my God, if I lay down these boundaries, people will think I'm X, Y, Z, or I'm not, I'm rude, or I'm inconsiderate, and I'm selfish, or whatever. Okay. Boundaries are just a sign of a healthy relationship. They are a sign of self-respect. They are, if somebody is intelligent, is an intelligent person, and actually of a good understanding, and this includes your children. This includes your children. If somebody is, hi Rasila, and hi Razia, hi Mubashir. If somebody is a decent human being, they will understand the need for these boundaries, especially if you communicate effectively. So when I communicated my need for my space for my children, they understood. And it's a 7-year-old and 11-year-old. My daughter, I've explained to her that the need for her to help me out in the house, so she does it, and she understands that. My son understands that point about doing house chores, so he does it. And it was especially when it comes to my work. So when I'm working, hi Razi, my lovely. For them not to disturb me while I'm working, because that's my healthy boundaries. Again, if you communicate it effectively, these people will understand. But you have to give permission to yourself to do that. I have to give permission to myself. I had to give permission to myself. Yes, there are times when I'm going to switch off. There are times when I'm not going to do mummy duties. I just sit on the sofa. I don't do anything. This happened, by the way. So I sit on the sofa. I don't do anything, and I watch movies with them. And there are other times when I sit on the sofa and I tell them to go in the garden because mummy needs some space just to be herself, by herself. I need some alone time. And that's fine. It's perfectly fine. So remember, people, give yourself permission to actually adhere to these boundaries. It's essential for your mental health. It's essential for your spiritual health. And it will, by the way, this helps to build relationships. Since I've laid down these boundaries, my relationship with my children has flourished. I'm not getting angry at them as much. I don't get angry at them hardly at all anymore. I'm having to discipline them less. I'm having to tell them off less, and they get to do more. The time you get to spend with each other is actually fun time. We do get to have lots of giggles and lots of cuddles and lots of fun time, because I've laid down these boundaries, and I'm not constantly disciplining them. I'm not constantly being a mother. I'm telling you, these are my rules. Don't overstep them. And when they do, they have the privileges taken away. So my Myra's back in the phone. Her phone gets taken away. My son loves his iPad and the phone. They're taken away. The TV's taken away. Whatever. I do discipline them when they cross those boundaries, but I've done it in a language which they understand. I mean, I give them, that is an example for me, because they are the most important people in my life, and therefore I need to, and with them was where most of my boundaries was getting really blurred. I was not setting boundaries. I kept thinking I had to be a mother 24/7, and I had to be a businesswoman, and therefore I was literally there was a time when I was doing 20 hours a day, literally from the point I would wake up to the point I would go to sleep. I would be doing 20 hours because I was cleaning after them. I was cooking for them. I was doing this for them. Not that I'm not doing it now, but I'm doing it in a way which is healthy. Does that make sense, people? Are you understanding? I keep giving my example because I think I'm being very transparent, and everything I'm telling you guys, I've done it myself. I'm not making this rubbish up. I'm doing it because these are practical tips that I've implemented in my own life. This is exactly what happened. This happened to me. I communicated in a way instead of how they could hear. None of us could understand what has happened. Yeah. So it's very important you communicate in a way that they can hear. Then you lay down effective boundaries. Otherwise, if you don't communicate in a clear way, you are just causing friction. You are just causing havoc. You are just causing pain, and that is what you don't want. Hi, Aisha, my lovely. How are you? So for this reason, it's essential that you actually give yourself permission to do this. So step number, I think we're on 4. Is it? I can't remember which one. Yeah, step number 4. Give yourself permission to do this. Okay, that's number 4. Next one, number 5. Oh gosh, we better hurry up. I've got 11 altogether. Okay, next one is actually practice self-discipline. So not only did you do this once, okay, you have to do this on a regular basis. Now, what do I mean by this? Okay, you can't do this once and forget about it. You can't just do this once and say, okay, I've done it now, I've laid it, everybody understands. No, they don't, because what will happen is you'll start slipping into old kind of behavior. So you should do this maybe, once you've done this for every relationship and you sort of work out clear boundaries, then what you do is maybe, excuse me, let me get some water. Then maybe what you do is on a monthly basis, if you can do it on a weekly, great, but if you can't do it weekly, on a monthly basis, spend an hour or so just looking at everywhere and how your month went. Audit your personal relationships. This is your personal life we're talking about, for God's sakes, okay? This is your time, your personal space, and your personal relationships. You can spend at least an hour on there or a month, okay? You can. So audit every single month and work out where it's happening, what's happening, how beneficial was it, how effective it was for you, where are the pitfalls, what can you improve on, what do you need to do, and so forth. Do that on a regular basis so that you know that you are only dealing with healthy relationships and you lay in clear boundaries. Plus, now this is another point. People will push your boundaries, including your children. So when you lay down a boundary once, they'll see if they can overstep it. They'll see if they can actually push you that much further. They'll see if they can push you and see if they can go back to the old way of doing things, the old pattern. That will happen, so that can slip in. And to prevent that, the best thing to do is to do it on a regular basis. So it's called auditing every single month. Make sense? Okay, that's step number 5. And by the way, I'm going to say once again, for those of you watching, if you are watching, please do share this video with those of you around you on your audience, because we don't know who needs to hear this. I don't know who is, and this is a no pitch, no BS training. I'm not pitching anything. There's nothing to sell. It's pure content, and I really do believe that every single person should be doing this and should be actually working on setting clear boundaries for their own mental health and to have great relationships. So this is the reason why I keep asking for that. Okay, so what we will step are we on? We're on so we're on step number 6. Now this is essential, okay? I've called it your family paradigm. Now, those of you who work with me know exactly, how much I go on about family paradigms, because how you are and what you shaped, how you shaped and how you're programmed is basically done by your families. Your upbringing. You are programmed between the ages of 0 to 7, and that's where most of your programming is done. Now, the problem is, you don't get to choose, what programming has been set for you, what's right and what's wrong, what your limitations are. This is where you have to work out what it has that's been set for you, okay? So for this reason, you have to go and see, how were you raised? How did your parents raise you? What became, what was the norm in your family? So for example, in Asian families, you never speak back to your, to elders. You never speak back to your parents, okay? But to set healthy boundaries, you have to speak up to your parents. You have to say, no, Mama, this doesn't agree with me. This doesn't make sense to me. You have to be able to do that. Obviously, doing it in a respectful manner. I'm not asking you to be rude to your mom or dad, but for you to be able to set healthy boundaries and say, no, this doesn't work for me, you have to speak up. Another one is, there's these false expectations from our relatives, uncles and aunts and so forth. You have to set, clear. Hi, Sabine, my lovely. You have to set clear, clear boundaries with your uncles and aunts and siblings and friends and cousins and whatever else. So if you have this thing that you can't speak back to your elders, and you can't speak to your mother-in-law, your father-in-law, you can't speak to your mother and father back, speaking back to mother-in-law, father-in-law, speaking to your mom and dad is rude. How are you going to set clear boundaries? You can't be a doormat either. So you have to recognize that as an adult, you have a responsibility to yourself and responsibility to these relationships to be able to set healthy boundaries. Remember, if you don't set healthy boundaries, you will be disrupting the relationship, because guess what will happen? The resentment will set in. Let me repeat that. If you don't set clear, healthy boundaries, resentment will set in. Doesn't matter which relationship it is, by the way. It doesn't matter if it's your parents, your child, your father, your mother, your brother and sister, whatever. Whichever relationship it is, resentment will settle in and start eating away at the relationship, and it will break the foundation for it, okay? It will be completely, hi Nazreen, it will be completely, the relationship will either deteriorate, or we get to a point where you're constantly fighting with the individual or resenting the person. And either way, it's not healthy. It's not healthy for you, it's not healthy for the person. So for that reason, regardless of which relationship it is, you have to set healthy boundaries. And this also means, for those of you someone like me, you have to go back and see what your paradigms are, what your family paradigms are. How have you been brought up, and how does that conflict with you setting these clear boundaries? Because I can promise you, and I've called it paradigm for a reason, because paradigms are beliefs which are ingrained into our energy field so much that we don't even question them. Okay, let me repeat that. Paradigms are those beliefs which are ingrained into our energy system so much that we don't even question them. Okay, so for that reason, hi Nasreen, lovely. So for that reason, you have to look back and think, okay, what family paradigms do I have? What have I actually started? What do I believe in? What have we been brought up to believe in? what rules have I been given as a child that I need to live up to? What rules do I need to adhere to be able to function in this family? These are paradigms. And by the way, people, paradigms are harder to break. Beliefs are somehow, you can replace it with a new belief. But if a belief has become a paradigm, it's something that is ingrained part of your psyche. It's going to be more difficult for you to overcome. And if you have those, for example, you can't talk back to your parents, then setting clear, healthy boundaries is going to be more difficult for you. It's more challenging for you. It doesn't mean it's impossible. Hi, Rochelle. It doesn't mean it's not impossible. It's not possible. It just means it's going to be more of a challenge, and you have to accept that, because if you do think of it as a challenge, you will resent doing it. You will put it off. You won't do it. Make sense? Right? So this is the reason why setting clear, healthy boundaries, when you start doing this, you have to see, okay, what's my upbringing and what's my family paradigm around this, and how am I supposed to behave? How am I expected to behave? Okay, how am I expected to behave? And would I be going against that by setting these healthy boundaries? And most of the times, I can guarantee you will be, okay? Especially if you come from an Asian culture, with Chinese or the South Asian cultures, they're very similar in terms of the respect towards the elders. And I'm not telling you to be disrespectful. Oh my God, not at all. I'm not saying be disrespectful. I'm just saying lay down healthy boundaries through respect, but also respect your feelings, okay? Because what does boundaries mean? It means you respect who you are. You have self-respect. Make sense? Give me thumbs up, people. Give me thumbs up. By the people, those of you watching live, who just joined, put down #live, and those of you watching replay, #replay. Okay. And if you're getting value from this, please do share this video out. Okay. Next step. Where are we? Okay. So here's another one. Okay. This it blows me away when I see this, okay? And I had to add this one in as well, because not necessarily does this family matters make a difference. It's also, Francis, my paradigm is I'm responsible for everyone, I'm the oldest. Yeah, friend, that will be your paradigm. So you have to break free from that. If you feel responsible for all your siblings, guess where your healthy boundaries will be? Nowhere to be seen, because you will think about your mother, your siblings, and your family and everybody else before yourself. And if you do that, you'll never be in the picture. You'll never have time. So if your brother or your sister, your mother or father ask you for something, you'll have to go and do it for them, and you can't say no. And if you can't say no, they're on a boundary. So absolutely, Fran, absolutely, you will definitely have to lay down, break through that paradigm that you're responsible for everybody because you're oldest. You're not. Being the eldest does not make you responsible for anyone. Absolutely, absolutely. You yourself as a person are responsible for your own happiness, and everybody is responsible for their own happiness. You can help them. Absolutely, you can help them, but you are not responsible for their happiness. Okay, that's important to know. Hi, Saroj. Oh, thank you, my lovely. Thank you, Sarah, my lovely. Thank you so much. Okay, so where were we? What number are we on? Oh, environmental factors. So environmental factors. So this is another thing that I wanted to add. Now, this is a bit of a tangent from how you were brought up. So the company you work in, the kind of environment you work in, okay, also influences the kind of expectations from you. Now, this can also work if you get married into a particular type of family. If you get married in a particular type of family and they expect you to behave in a certain way, okay, they have their own norms and whatever. Hi, Yasmin. That could be it. In work environment, if you go and work in a company, but you're contracted to work until 6, but the norm is to work overtime until 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, and if you go home before 8, 9 o'clock, you are seen as somebody who's doing something wrong, or somebody who's going against company norm or company rules, or because everybody else does it but you're not doing it, then you're the odd one out. Okay, again, healthy boundaries. If you're going to have to work more and you think you need the extra time, speak to your manager and get paid for it. Otherwise, don't do the extra hours unless you're somehow work around it. Again, you have to set the healthy boundaries. Yeah, exactly, Suraj. You are totally responsible for your own happiness, and everybody else is responsible for their own happiness. The only person whose happiness you're responsible for is your own. Okay, is your own, and everybody else has to learn that they are responsible for their own happiness, because nobody else can make you happy. Okay, so that's very important. So again, this is another factor to remember, that if you are in the work environment as well, you need to work out how can you lay down boundaries with there. If everyone around you is working till 8 or 9 as a norm, and you want to leave, but you only need to leave by 6, so what can you do different? And this also can work in your, if you're married into a particular type of family. And I do, because I appreciate it, because I'm being Asian, I know what happens and how much influence in-laws can do. So if you're married into a particular family and they have particular norms or particular ways, for example, the way headscarf or the particular things that they do, then that's another thing that, you know, you have to work out what's your boundaries, what is your limitations, you know, what can you and not do. Okay, again, laying down boundaries is essential. Otherwise, you will start resenting the relationships, and that's exactly what you don't want. Okay, I don't want you to have any resentment towards anyone. By the way, because I'm a money mindset expert, I value my energy and I value the way I think very, very, more above everything else. I don't want to have resentment towards anyone. I don't want to be angry towards anyone, because I want to be rich, not angry. For that reason, you want to keep your vibration high. And if you have resentment towards anyone, resentment is a very low vibrational energy. And if you are resenting anyone, you will lower your vibration immensely, and therefore you will not attract the abundance that I would like in your life. So therefore, it's essential that you don't resent or be angry at anyone. Okay, that's the reason why I'm doing this session today. By the way, so please do share this out, and I would really appreciate it. Okay, where are we now? Okay, number. Hi, Candina. I hope I'm pronouncing your name, my lovely. It's lovely to have you here on Instagram. Okay, so number 8. Now, number 8 is make yourself a priority. Okay, make yourself a priority. And you know, when we do this, our need and motivation to set our boundaries is that much stronger. Okay, let me repeat this. When we make ourselves a priority, then the need to set clear and healthy boundaries becomes that much stronger. If you make yourself a priority, then you'll make sure that you do set clear boundaries. You'll make sure that you do this monthly audit. You'll make sure that you communicate, you find ways to communicate this to the people, every single individual that you need to send a boundary with, you do it effectively in a way that that person can understand. I keep saying this, you communicate in a way that the person understands, not necessarily how you want to say it, how you want to communicate it. The art of great communication is speaking in a way that other people can understand. So you need to communicate this effectively with those people, but you will find ways, you will do it if you are a priority, if you made yourself a priority. Okay, putting yourself first means it gives you that the energy, the peace of mind and positive outlet to be more present with others and to be there for them. It allows you to be there for your family. It allows you to be there. It allows you, when you make yourself a priority, you know that you are important, and therefore it allows you to be there for your essential relationships. Okay. Otherwise, what happens is when you don't set down clear boundaries, not only are you not present for your essential relationships, like for me would be my son and my daughter, but you are also not present for the other work, for your clients, for your spouse, for your wife, for your husband, for your boyfriend, for your girlfriend, for your best friend, because other people are become energy vampires and they're eating into your energy. Now, what are energy vampires? Other people who come and eat into your energy because they need to feed off you. I'm not going to talk about energy vampires. I'll talk about it another time. It's just a quick tip here that there are people like that exist as well. And it is very important, especially as an empath. I'm an empath. So for empaths especially, it's very important that you set clear boundaries so that you don't allow anybody to eat into your energy, because then it will deplete you. And once you're depleted, you don't have the energy or the peace of mind to work on and deal with the important relationships. And this could sometimes be with the important relationship also. It could be that you're giving too much of yourself to your husband. You're giving too much of yourself to your children. You're giving too much of yourself to your parents, and then you find that you cannot actually give what's necessary to other relationships. Okay, for you to be present and value all relationships, you have to set clear boundaries on all relationships. That's essential. Okay, and you make sure that the more important a relationship, the more healthy clear boundaries there are, because you're not overgiving and depleting yourself. If you're depleted, if your tank's empty, you're getting nowhere. Make sense? Make sense. I hope it does. Okay. Now this is another one which I think is absolutely key. Okay, it's really, really key. Well, one of the first things we do, I know that I think, I used to believe that I had the burden for the whole world on my shoulders. I wouldn't ask for help. Okay, so number 10 is ask for help. We are number 10 or number 9. Oh, we are number 9, sorry. Number 9 is ask for help. Okay, ask for help. We as especially women, I think this is prevalent for women, we think we can do all, we can multitask, we can do this, we can do that, we can do this, and we don't ask for help. Ask for help is essential. It's essential. It's essential not only just for the work, but also when you sit down. When you feel overwhelmed, when you feel like you can't do this, when you think I can't do it. It's too much. We've come to the belief that as women, we have to be superwomen. We have to have amazing businesses. We have to have amazing jobs. We have to be, perfect cooks and perfect housekeepers and da. Everything has to be perfect. We have to be some kind of superwoman. No, the hell no, we don't. Okay. You can do all of these tasks, when you're juggling, absolutely you can. But you need to ask for help in every sphere. So in work, if you're going to job, ask for help if you need it with the manager and whatever else it is. Okay. Asking for help does not amount to you saying that you're a failure or saying that you're incompetent or saying that you can't handle it. It just means you're human and you need help. Okay, but we believe if we ask for help, it means we're somehow belittling ourselves. We are somehow admitting that we're a failure, or we're admitting that we can't do anything. That's not the case. So you need to ask for help. Okay, you need to ask for help. And sometimes it may even be when you ask for help from a coach, maybe if you're asking for maybe from a pastor, if you're or a priest, if you're religious, or a coach or a mentor or a best friend. Ask for help in emotional support also, especially when you're going through this journey of laying down boundaries as well. Again, it's essential that you ask for help when you start on this journey, because if you have been overgiving for so many years, this is going to be a transitional journey for you. It will not happen overnight. I'm not going to say this is going to happen overnight. Absolutely not. Okay. If you have been over-giving and over-delivering all the time and have been just giving and have not set clear boundaries, and you'll know this because you will, if you look within yourself, there were certain people, regardless of how much you love them, you will have an element of resentment towards them. That means you have not set clear boundaries with that individual, and therefore you're resenting that individual now, okay? That means that you will have this transition period when you will not be able to, be fully present when you're doing this, going through the transition stage, when you're actually setting these clear boundaries. Make sense? Okay, so you'll need help. Get a mentor, get your friend to help you, or do even better. My best advice to you guys would be to partner up, get an accountability buddy. Those, by the way, work really, really, really well. Get a mastermind or something, okay? There are certain people that have masterminds with, and I really help. Even if nothing else, they help me to just grow as a person. So get a mastermind. Hi Diana. Hi Garesh, and hi Ben. Hi Rabina. So set clear when you're setting clear boundaries. Get help. Ask for help from mentors, from priests, from pastors, from friends, from coaches, etc. Okay. Be patient with yourself and ask for help. Okay. Very, very important. By the way, guys, if you're getting value from this, please do share this video. I'll really appreciate it. I think as many people as possible need to hear this. Next step, number 10. We've only got 2 more, so not long to go now. Okay. Number 10 I've put down is learning the art of being assertive. Okay, learning the art of being assertive. Now, I am naturally a very assertive person. It comes with my personality. I'm a very assertive person, and that part was honed in when I did my bar vocational course. So when I became a barrister, I mean, it was one of the things when we speak with authority, and that was part of not only am I born with it, but it was also trained in part of my training. So when I speak, I can speak with a lot of authority, but that doesn't mean that you can't do it either. This is something that's a skill that's honed, that can be learned, and it should be learned, okay? Being assertive and being rude are 2 different things. Let me repeat that. Being assertive and firm and being rude are 2 different things. Be very assertive without being rude. Be very firm, but without being rude. And this is essential. Heidi, what words do you practice if it's more like absolutely? I'm coming to that. Heidi, that's my number. That's step number 11. So I'll come to that. You're going ahead of me. Girish, are you assertive and authoritative? Yes. I'm not authoritative, but I am assertive. But then that comes from my training, because my background is I'm a lawyer, so I would be assertive, wouldn't I? But anyway, what was I saying? So yeah, so be assertive and be assertive with being but without being rude. Okay. Now, even though intellectually many people know that other people are not mind readers and other people don't know our boundaries, people we just think, oh wait, because I've set these boundaries, other people will know. Well, if you haven't communicated it with them, they won't know. But the next step is, if you don't enforce those boundaries, let me repeat that. If you don't enforce those boundaries, people will not keep to those boundaries. Okay, and it's simple. It's like imagine being in a classroom, okay, and you have this classroom full of 30 children, and then you say, please be quiet, and you don't, make them quiet, they'll just carry on talking. If you tell them very simply, I mean, classroom, I just say once, by the way, in any situation, and people usually become pretty quiet because I'm quite loud and quite assertive. So it just means, you have to say, you not only do you have to say it, you have to communicate it, then you have to stick to it. You have to remind people, and sometimes you have to be assertive. Say, no, actually, this doesn't work for me. I'm sorry. As much as I would love to, for example, if somebody wants you to do a particular thing for them, a particular favor for them, I'll come back to the client example I gave earlier. My client was, she was very, she wanted me to do X, Y, Z. I said very clearly, I'm sorry, I'm unable to do this. And these are, I'm not comfortable doing it, whatever. I wasn't rude, but I laid down the boundaries and I communicated effectively, assertively, that there was no negotiation on that part. I was not going to do it. And that's how you need to be. You need to lay down the boundaries in a way where it's non-negotiable. You know what your limits are. And once you know what your limits are, those limits are non-negotiable. You should not be negotiating on them. You should not be negotiating something that makes you uncomfortable. You should not be negotiating on things which make you doubt yourself, which make you doubt who you are. And that's why it's essential that you lay down your boundaries, communicate effectively, and then become assertive to enforce those boundaries. And that's essential. Without it, you cannot. My volume's gone? Can you hear me? Is my volume back, guys? Is my volume back? Tell me my volume's back. Tell me my volume's gone. Is it back? Is it back? Is it back? Okay, how's my volume now? Can you hear me, guys? Can you hear me, guys? Tell me you can hear me. Hear me? Can you hear me? Hear me, hear me, hear me. Hear me, honey? Let's try this. This will do. Right. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? All right. Can you hear me, guys? There's feedback. Okay. Can you hear me now? I've got my snowball here. Can you hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me clearly now. I'll wait for you guys to just give me the thumbs up. Give me thumbs up. Still very low. I don't know. It's just low, not gone. Really? Wow. Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. You can hear me? Okay, Gloria, you said you can hear me now. So is it okay now? Has it gone back to normal? Oh, awesome, awesome, awesome. I love my snowball. My snowball's walking. All right, so where was I? So you're somewhat muted with a buzzing sound. Am I? Can you guys not hear me? Your Fran saying I'm somehow muted. Can you guys hear me clearly or not? Tell me, please tell me. Hi, Goyle. Tell me you can hear me. Tell me you can hear me so we can do this bit drama a bit more. Now it's a whining noise? Really? Seriously? Oh my goodness. Seriously? Can still hear, but soft but audible. Oh dear. I'm not sure exactly what's going on, guys. This is the technical gremlins of me. Yes, but with feedback. Hi, Gold. There's a high pitched sound that you're coming through. Where is this high pitched sound coming from? I can't tell. Oh, okay, I'm gonna end this, see if that could work. Okay. Okay, is it still there? I've switched off my phone. Maybe that would help. Unplug your volume and replug. I did that. Right, can you hear me now? Is that better? But I can still hear you. Can you, is it good? Is it better now? I've unplugged my snowball, so this will be the laptop volume now. Can you still hear me? Can you still hear me? Can you still hear me? I can do my dance. Can you still hear me? Can you still sorry. Can you guys hear me? Nasreen, talk to me, yaar. Can you hear me? मेरी बकवास सुन रही है? For those of you can even understand Hindi. Hi. Tell me you can hear me. Tell me you can hear me. I can hear you. Okay, Saroj, I love you, yaar. Okay, we'll just do it without the thing. Still hear you, but high-pitched noise is still there. Really, I have no idea where the high-pitched noise is coming from. I'm going to try and plug in my snowball again. I can hear you. Okay. Yes. Okay, so let's try this with the snowball again. Let's see if you can hear me through the snowball. Can you hear me through with the snowball now? Can you hear me? It's an expensive mic, actually, so I can still hear your voice clearly, but with high-pitched noise. Is the high-pitched noise still there? Has it gone? Is it still there? Oh, my God, it's... Oh, gosh, it's an entity. Oh, dear. That's why I can't hear it, because it's an entity. Aha! Okay. It took me that long to work out what's happening. Okay. Sorry, guys. I can't do anything about it. Not at the moment anyway. I have to get rid of it. So tell me, has it gone? Has the high-pitched noise gone, by the way? Is it still there? Still there. All right. So there's something that I can't, because I can't hear it at my end. High-pitched noise, but it's okay. All right. I can't remove it. I just realized what it is. It's buzzing now with... Yeah, I can't. Go ahead. It's fine. Okay. Okay, I'm going to have to do this now, guys. I'll have to get rid of that later. Anyway, we're at the end anyway. I've completely lost my trail of thoughts. Whistles. Yeah, it's a funny entity. Okay. Funny. How funny? How funny is that? Ha, ha, ha. Okay, doesn't matter. No problem. Okay. As long as you can hear me, and that's all that matters, I'm going to carry on now. So number 10 was be assertive. You need to be assertive. So you need to lay down the healthy boundaries. You need to communicate. You need to communicate this clearly with the person, individual concerned, and then you need to enforce those boundaries also. Okay, you need to do 3 steps. It's important to do that. And when you enforce those boundaries, you need to be assertive. You cannot be wishy-washy or maybe whatever. You have to say very clearly, this doesn't work for me anymore, or I can't do this really, or I have to do this and this. You know, the best thing to say is, I'm sorry, but this doesn't work for me. I don't feel guided towards it, or this doesn't feel right for me. Okay, say in a way which is not offensive for the other person, but communicates clearly that this aspect doesn't work for them for you anymore. Okay, and this is very clear for every single person. Be very clear and assertive when you are enforcing your boundaries, because what's the point doing all this work if you're not going to enforce the boundaries? Okay, that's the whole point. Okay, so that's number 10. And I'll do a quick we're 9:30, so I kept an hour, and so oh my God, I have to carry on. Number 11 is, okay, so this is what I think somebody else said before, and it's number 11 is start small. So if you've been behaving in a particular way, or being used to behaving in a particular way for so long, for you to jump ahead and start laying down all these boundaries, it's going to be very difficult. So start small. Start with small stuff. Start with baby steps. Pick somebody that you can actually do this easily and effectively with. Be it your brother, be it your mother, be it your father, be it your daughter, be it your son, be it your husband, whatever. And even with those individuals, start small. So start with somebody who will understand you laying down the boundaries, okay? Somebody who will not get offended. Somebody who's very close to you, somebody who may be a friend or something. And with that friend, you start practicing small things, okay? You start practicing small things, and as you build a muscle, because remember, whatever you do is always building a muscle. You're always building a muscle. And the more you practice, the more you build on your muscle, the more you practice this particular skill, the stronger the muscle will get and the stronger the things you can do. So once you can do this with small things, with people you are very comfortable with, then you can do these with people you're uncomfortable with doing. For example, your boss, maybe your mother-in-law, your father-in-law, be your friend, be your uncle, be your aunt, be your mother, your father, whoever. You know, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. What it means is you can actually put this into practice with those people who are who are more of a challenge for you. As long as you start practicing this on small scale with people you are already very comfortable with. So I laid these boundaries down, started with my family, which is initially my daughter and my son, and went out and towards my brother and my other things, my family and so forth. Okay. And that's basically the point I'm getting at. So number 11 is start small and start with people who are already you're comfortable with, so you know you can lay down the boundaries and they will not get offended. And also people you know how to communicate with. If you know how to communicate with someone, it makes things so much easier. If you don't know how to communicate with someone, you have to do the additional step of communicating with that individual in a language and in a manner which they will understand. Okay. So that's an additional hurdle. So for you to get to that point, that's like the next level up. Start with setting, first of all, working in clear boundaries, and then start practicing with people who know you, who understand you, and people who you can actually lay down good boundaries with. Hi, Hilda and Yvonne. So I highly recommend, by the way, this is the end of today's training. I've gone over as usual because so half an hour wasn't enough. I thought an hour, and an hour is not enough. So thank you for joining me, guys. These are my 11 steps. Actually, let me do a quick recap for you. I'll do a quick recap. So the 11 steps are as follows. Number 1 is setting intention for you. Sorry, it's identification. So number 1 is identification of become aware of what are your limitations and what are your boundaries, or what need to be your boundaries for physical, emotional, mental, and spirituals. Okay, so 4 areas of your life. What are your clear boundaries, and where are you on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is going to be uncomfortable, and 10 becoming when you start resenting that person for that. Okay. Number 2, actually, that's number 2. Number 2 is identify your feelings. So number 1 is identification of the 4 areas. Number 2 is tune to feelings. Where are you with each of these person, with each of those things, with from becoming discomfort to resentment. Number 3 is you to communicate effectively to others in a language and in a manner that they will understand. Not how you want it, but in a manner that they will understand. So this can work for you rather than against you, and doesn't give you additional problems. Number 4 is give yourself permission to do this. Do not fall into the trap of guilt and fear of what would other people think if you are laying down these boundaries. How will they see you? What would they think about you? That's not important. You need to give yourself permission to do this. It's essential. Number 5 is practice self-discipline. Do this on a regular basis. So I recommend doing a monthly audit. Once you've done this full exercise, do a monthly audit and see how well are these boundaries being practiced, and how people are adhering to it, who's slipping out, where are you slipping into, how are you slipping into old patterns, and working on that. Number 6 is working out what your family paradigms are around how what's right and wrong for you, how were you brought up in terms of what you're supposed to be doing. And I say paradigms because paradigms are beliefs which you don't question. They become part of your reality field, they're part of your psyche, and you never question them. So work out what are your family paradigms and how you've been brought up in terms of what is the norm for you. And then if that goes against you setting boundaries, you need to work on that too. Number 7 is environmental factors, which is actually your work environment also. So it could be that you're working 9 to 5, you're supposed to be working 9 to 5, but your work colleagues regularly stay till 8, 9 o'clock, and therefore you feel compelled to stay till 8, 9 o'clock. Otherwise, you feel the odd one out. Again, your boundaries, you need to work out what can be, what can work for you. Number 8 is making yourself a priority. Make yourself priority, and make sure you give yourself the time to do this. If you don't, then you don't value yourself, and you also indicate to people that you are not worth it. When you start valuing yourself, when you tell people that you're making yourself a priority, it shows you have self-respect, and that's essential for people. Okay. Number 9 is ask for help. Ask for help when you need it, especially when you're setting these boundaries, and also when you're doing these boundaries. Sometimes if you need help with housework, with other things, with other chores, maybe things at work, with your business, ask for help. Okay. And number 10 is learn to be assertive. Once you lay down boundaries, make sure that you get other people to adhere to them, to practice them, and not to be ignored. Okay. And number 11 is start small. Okay. So this is what I did, which we covered. Hi, Yvonne. We covered over the last an hour and a bit with a little bit of entity playing up in between the end and causing some high-pitched noise, which, what can I do? I'm an energy healer. I attract a certain energy field. But thank you so much for joining me. For those of you who found value in this, I highly recommend that please do share this out to people. As you've seen, there's no pitch, this is no pitch, no BS training. It's purely for benefit. If you find value in it, please do share it with your audience, because I think every single person needs to set clear boundaries and needs to set ways that you can actually communicate effectively to other people, so you can have better relationships rather than resentment ones. And for those of you watching the replay, please do make sure you, I hope you do type in #replay. And for those of you who are in the Magnanimous Money Mindset group, please hop over there, because we're going to go and do a clearing in there now. I've been speaking for an hour. I'm going to speak for another, God knows how long. But anyway, let's go and do a clearing on setting healthy boundaries in the Magnanimous Money Mindset group right now. I'm hopping over there. I hope you join me. And for those of you who are not members, come and join me a member. I've got the link in the comments anyway. Come and join us in the Magnanimous Money Mindset. It's a free training, and that free clearing actually. And that clearing will last until for the next 24 hours anyway. And after that, it goes away. It goes to the ETC group. But until then, you have access to it for another 24 hours. Okay. See you all in the Magnanimous Money Mindset group. Bye for now.